see who all was on it.
We had a good combo. Did we scroll down? Did you forget to do something? No. No?
Sometimes it takes a second for the Instagram thing, and then there we go.
There we go. That's why we
Oh, yeah.
because you tried to click the go live and it didn't.
And then it always looks weird like this on the computer, but it is what it is. What's up, y'all?
What up?
We're back for another episode of Friday Night Shenanigans. Paul to the left, Tony to the right, as per usual. We're missing Riverboat Rob.
You're left. They're right.
Well, yeah. I'm just saying it how I see it, boys. But yeah, we're hanging out. What is tonight's topics, boys?
Solstice.
We're going to talk about whatever the solstice and just whatever comes up.
Yeah. It's another pissing into the wind episode. Those are some of my favorites because you have no idea where the conversation's going to go.
That's what Tackle Talk Tuesday turned into.
Yeah, well,
I thought Tackle Talk Tuesday was pretty good when we all were talking about the big worms and stuff like that.
I love Riverboat Rob, but you never know where things are going to go when Riverboat Rob's in the
Hey Jim, what's going on, man?
What up, Jim? But with that being said, we're going to break into this intro, and then we're going to go into our little music session where we wait for some people to join, and we're going to get into this. Let's do it.
A lot of running.
We're back.
What's
We're
up,
going to get some
guys?
music going, let some folks join us. If you guys can, like you always do, go ahead and like and share so we can get some folks in here and get rocking and rolling.
I have no idea why this does this, but sometimes it just doesn't like to.
It just
There you go.
just doesn't like it.
I think one of the things that we need to talk about is the health of the fish and the gunpowder. We were talking about that a little bit before we started.
But they can hear us.
I know. I know. I'm just saying, like, we definitely should talk about that because it's pretty cool to see, especially.
Well, maybe save your thoughts because we don't really have anything to talk about.
True.
Just bring it up. And we can talk about how bad the fishing and the gunpowder is.
Did you get new Wi-Fi? Because my phone didn't connect to it either.
Yeah, there's a new router. Babe, it's on the back of the Wi-Fi box to the right of the television. It says Wi-Fi password. I don't know what it is.
It's probably one of those like super long weird passwords.
It is.
Does she have an iPhone?
Yeah.
When she tried to connect.
Tried to do the share the Wi-Fi thing.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
So it should automatically do it when somebody tries to connect, like within. So when they like open the Wi-Fi password screen, like you should get like a pop-up on your phone.
Do that. Well, you don't have an iPhone.
I'll try it. So like if you go to the Wi-Fi, I'm connected to the Wi-Fi. That's another thing that Apple does. Like if you give them permission, and like your Wi-Fi changes, like it, I don't know, like automatically. Like, do it. But yeah, I'm connected to Wi-Fi apparently. It's been pretty hot up here, Jim. Not like Florida hot, but hot for up here. Is that Tony on the guitar? No, Tony can play much better than that.
I'm glad that you said that because I hate to say that, but I probably could. I also realized recently like by accident,
All right, we're in.
kind of a decent bass player. Like yeah, dude. Like we were playing.
By the way, that's one of my favorite episodes of South Park.
Oh yeah,
The Guitar Hero episode.
No, when Cartman makes a Christian
Token.
rock band.
Oh yeah, makes Token play the bass.
Me and I don't know how to play the bass. Yes, you do, Token.
You're black. Like you can play the bass. Hilarious episode. We were playing last Sunday, and I got to Kevin's house a little bit early, and I was like playing the bass. I was like, hey, you know what? Hold on a second. And within like 25 minutes, we were playing why known as Big Brown Beaver. Yeah.
You doing
Why Anna's got herself a big brown beaver and she shows it off to all her friends. One day you know that beaver tried to leave her, so she changed him up in cyclone fans. I love that song, dude. That song is so good.
This Piston into the Wind episode is starting off fire.
Little Primus for everyone out there. Brought to you by Tony.
Long came live with the old baboons. They recognize that smell. Dude.
The Trump impersonations are still the best. But anyways, we're back. Friday Night Shenanigans. We just went through the beginning of the shenanigans. Now we're into the conversation shenanigans. And like I said, tonight we're pissing into the wind. So shoot us some topics. What do you guys want to talk about? What do you guys want to learn about? What do you guys want us to bring up on the old Google?
I know one thing I want to talk about a little bit because we had a couple weeks ago. Yes,
Bigfoot vlogs.
Those are hilarious, by the way.
They are.
We had a conversation a couple weeks ago. If you guys joined us on that Tuesday, where we talked about rods.
Hey, Scott.
So I actually got
What's
a
going on,
chance.
Mr. Scott?
I got a chance to. I handed Chad my Corrado yesterday, and he took one cast with it, and he's like, "This feels just like an X Pride." I was like, "I told you."
It does feel very similar to an X Pride.
It makes sense. I mean,
Which is cool.
Same blank.
I don't know that it's the same
Trick
blank.
Tim's in the house.
but
What's up, Matt?
it's
How you
close.
doing, brother?
It's very close.
I think it's. I think it's yeah. It's pretty close.
Either way, I think
the biggest difference is gonna like your real seat and handle and stuff like that.
I think the initial reaction when someone holds a $170 rod, makes a cast with it, and says, "Wow, this feels like a $300 rod." Like, that's a good thing. Like that's overall, like that's a good thing to say.
No, we did not. Tony probably did, but I did not.
I did. So
I did not.
Yep, our friend Andy at Team Marine, he put a pretty good video out today called the Ultimate Fishing Boat, and it's basically what he would build for an ultimate. Just you want to go out and have a good time fishing boat.
Did it end up being a Champion 203?
No, it was actually a tin boat. He basically said he wanted to build a tin boat, and it was, I think it was a 19-foot, and it wasn't any brand specific. It was how he would build it, and it was not surprising, but there wasn't, it wasn't about having a 250. It wasn't about blah blah blah, saying all this, that, and the other. It was basically like, this is a budget boat build that you can have, enjoy, and go fishing. But it was like 90 horsepower, 6-foot power poles, modest graphs, and just a decent layout for fishing. Interesting. The most interesting part about it is he said he wouldn't put a live well in it. Which I was like, that's weird.
You don't need a live well if you're just going out. If you're just going out budget to have fun, you're not fishing tournaments. What do you need a live well for? True.
So yeah, it was a pretty good video. I definitely always recommend that you guys check out Andy and Team Marine, because all the stuff he puts out is really good stuff. So definitely, if you haven't had a chance to check him out, make sure you give that video a like and a share, because they put out some really good stuff. Obviously, we've had Andy on the show before, real straight shooter. But
to be fair, if I was building a dream boat like that, definitely has to have a live well.
Oh yeah,
because you can fit a lot of beer in a live well,
and you can fish toward it. I mean.
Even without the tournament fishing aspect, live well makes pretty good cooler.
Right.
I gotta say, if he's looking for somebody to collab with for building a tin rig, then we know who to recommend.
Right. Definitely hit up Trick Tins.
Definitely does the coolest freaking tin boat work out there.
I want to know, like, if you're truly building a boat, like you're not even starting with a hull, like where would you start? Like if you just want to build a boat,
just
what do you mean?
Literally just make a boat.
Like there's no mold.
Not buy a boat and then customize it, but make a boat.
Like not even starting with a 19-foot flat bottom.
You just have an idea.
Hey,
yes.
Thanks for the likes, fellas.
Yep.
If everybody do us a huge favor, hit that like and that share button. It helps get more people in here.
There's a there's a lot of physics that goes into it.
Yes, I don't understand physics.
As far as like the shape of your hull, what the hull does, what the chines on the hull actually do.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff you got to understand about about boats before you can even start. From there, once you understand that and you can create a design, then you have to, if you're going like aluminum, then you either have to be able to weld it or stamp it out. If it's fiberglass, you have to create a mock-up of it. However, I'm not sure how they do that. Like, when you do it with cars, they usually use like clay. They'll do like a clay mock-up, but it's a little bit different with fiberglass boats because they're injection molds.
Right.
So, but you have to have some kind of model to be able to make a mold out of it. Then you have to do the fiberglass to get your hull. Then you have to go, before you do anything else, you have to go test your hull.
Right.
Like, because that's why so many boats just use like hulls that are like already out there.
Right.
Like,
Trent, thanks for the like. How'd that Tarova perform, and how was your Lake Anna trip? I did see that you messaged me on Facebook. Haven't gotten around to being able to look at it yet. But let us know how your Lake Anna trip was. He hit me up, and trolling motor on their boat took a shit. He said, "What should I put on there?" He wants something with spot lock. I said, "If you don't want to, obviously the Ultrex is the best motor."
What's he putting it on? What kind of boat?
It's an aluminum. It's an aluminum V hull, probably a 16 or 18 foot. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I just told him for the money. I said, "Put a Tarova on there." I've never had any issues with mine. I really like it.
I just hate the foot pedals.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the foot pedal. I mean, it depends on what if you like the foot pedal, then the Tarova's great. I personally, I wouldn't even say the Quest.
I can't see spending the extra $1,500 just for the different foot pedal.
What's the price of the Tarova?
I don't know. Let's look it up.
I would say
you're getting more than that
Ultrex.
too, like, because you're getting a better mount. You're getting, it's a little beefier, so it can take a little more abuse.
$2,000.
$2,000 for a Tarova.
So you're another $3,500 for an Ultrex.
80
pound Ultrex?
80 pound Ultrex is like $2,400.
I would go with the Ultrex at that point. The 80, I would definitely, but yeah, I mean, first it's a 17. He says a 17.5 Pro Deep V, so
2,700 now.
I would go with the Ultrex still.
Well, it depends.
See, and he picked one up for $1,800.
It depends on if that's the I see it's Bass Pro Shops. It's $1,800. Is that the iPilot Link or the iPilot?
That also makes a big difference. You don't really need the iPilot Link though.
That might have transducers involved too. You might be able to get that a little cheaper if you're just running.
Well, I know the Ultrex prices went up a couple $100, so that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, so they caught 110 bass.
That's pretty
which is
awesome.
Phenomenal. 110 bass. Biggest was 3.5 pounds. That's a decent one for the Lake Anna hot side. And then 17.5 foot Pro Deep V. Nice. What's up, Dan? So I personally, I think the Tarova is worth the money. I've run the Tarova on my John boat forever, and
depending on
I just like it.
Depending on his deck setup too, the Tarova might actually be better.
Right.
Because of a lot of times they have there's a very deep gunnel. Mm-hmm. So like a regular foot pedal doesn't necessarily work right.
Yeah, you can run that trolling motor all the way from the back of the boat with as long as the cord is on it.
Yep.
Right.
That, and it still has the hand control. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely nothing wrong with the Tarova. It's if you don't mind the electric foot pedal, then that's the way to go. Personally, I would if it were me, I would get the 80 pound Ultrex. I wouldn't go to the Quest, just because I think you don't need it. The Quest is great if you want to put the Quest. The big selling point to me with the Quest,
I think the Quest because the Quest has more torque.
It depends if you're on 24 or 36.
On a fiberglass boat, I think it's worth it to go to the Quest.
The Quest, you can just get the 9115, and you can run 24 or 36. The Ultrex 80, you're getting 24 volts. So that's the other thing. If you do ever want to go to 112 or 36 volt, the Quest is the way to go. But if you're just going to do 24 volts, you can get the regular Ultrex, and you'll be good to go.
But that's my opinion on that as well.
Or you could get it fixed. I mean, and spend less money.
To me, it's that extra money for the foot pedal is worth it.
Yeah,
because I know where my trolling motor is pointed without looking like I can just keep casting and like I know where my trolling motor is just when I set my foot on the
Just
pedal.
from the foot pedal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
You got
you
to
have the indicator on the top of the trolling motor.
Yeah, but I don't have to look at it. That's what I'm saying.
I just
You know
think
what
for
I mean?
for his application, it was a good trolling motor to go with. And I think you're also going to find, Trent, that you are going to get more battery life out of the 24 volt with the 80 pound, because the 80 pound is so overpowered technically for Minn Kota specs. It's so overpowered for that aluminum boat that you don't have to run it on 8 power and whatnot to get where you need to go. You can put it on 3, you can put it on 4. So your amp draw is a lot lower. You can go a lot farther with it
Might be
than if you undersize it or you just run a standard 12 volt.
Might be
Standard
a little-
12 volt's going to pull more amps.
Was he running a 12 volt before?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
I would.
What
go to
trolling motor
24.
were you running before, Trent?
At 17.
What's going on, Z-Back? Good
That's
to see you,
I'm
brother.
assuming that's a bass tracker.
Yeah, 17 and a half. That deep V is going to be a little heavier than like your John boat too. So
I would
it's
say
not gonna, it's not going to rip it around like like that thing rips your John boat around.
I would definitely.
Oh, dude,
go
that thing
with
will
the
sling you off my John boat.
I
Which,
almost
speaking of which,
I almost slung Tony off my skeeter on Conowing.
he has a 12 volt 55 pound.
Oh yeah, that's going to be way
massive difference.
I've done it to myself on the Bullet with the Quest. And it's like the Quest is like, if you have that thing on anything higher than like 6 and you go in 90 degrees, like it's too much. It's too much. It's ridiculous.
It just takes you a while to get used to it.
Yeah.
Like,
That's the
I'm
thing about
pretty
the
good with it
Quest
now.
is
I
like,
don't really care.
unless
I'll run that bitch on 10. Unless you're on 10 going forward and you change directions real quick, then you're fucked.
yeah.
Well, that happens sometimes, especially me with my bad ankles and my imbalance.
And you're like,
oh,
"Ah."
But so I did manage to break my Tarova last night. Kind of forgot about that.
You didn't break it beyond use though.
I didn't break it beyond use, but it's broke. It needs to be fixed.
What'd you break?
We hit a log, and so basically, like, I heard a snap, and I was like, "Oh, that wasn't good." I was like, "My
Crack the
freaking
shaft.
no."
Oh.
So there's the plastic collar that's inside the housing that it spins. That plastic collar shattered.
Oh,
Well, a
that's
piece
not
of
good.
it broke off.
Well, a
Probably
piece of
not
it broke off.
A lot of I don't know about the Tarova, but like on the Ultrex, the stuff inside the steering motor is not replaceable. Like you actually have to replace the whole steering motor.
Oh, well, that'll piss me off.
I don't know if the Tarova is the same way, but
I don't know. I'm gonna have to call.
we had
How often
Dave's-
do you see that
call
though?
Dave.
Yeah, I'll call Dave.
Dave at where?
Dave's Minn Kota
Oh, okay.
over in Whitehall.
So yeah, it's the piece where like there's a little notch on it when it comes down, and then that has to fit down into it so that it locks it, so that it steers even when it's in the mud and whatnot. And it basically just snapped the top half of that off, so that notch isn't there anymore. So it still works and it still spins, but you can see it kind of slipping.
Yeah.
So I have no idea.
How often does that happen, Tony? Well, it happened to me and Tom Bavaro in Texas.
Really?
Yeah. So the first day that we were on Lake Fork, we went over. We got to our first spot.
What's up, Larry? Thanks
Not
for the
far away.
like, Gerald.
We were like right across from the boat ramp, and so we go across from the boat ramp, put the trolling motor down. Trolling motor won't turn. We think it's a control board, but he's like, literally just replaced the steering control board. So like, I don't think it's that. So we tried a couple of things. He gets on the phone, makes a phone call to a guy. That guy gives him the number of another guy. So there's a guy like 20 minutes from Lake Fork. We run over to this guy. We talked to him on the way. He's like, "Yep, just bring it over." We get there. We don't have to do anything. Like he's working on another guy's trolling motor. That guy leaves. He's like, pull it in. So we backed the boat up under his awning because it was raining. So he has like an open like carport type thing on the side of the. It was a boat dealer. So they were actually a bullet dealer.
Nice.
But we back it in there, and this dude replaced that steering motor in 45 minutes.
Wow.
Like we were in and out of there in 45 minutes.
I thought you said you had to replace the whole thing.
He did. So in 45 minutes, he pulled the shaft. So you got to pull the shaft, right? Which is a pain in the ass because you have to take like all the top stuff, like all the top off. You have to take all the cables and crap off. Pull the shaft, and then you have to take the steering motor off, which is that black part on the front of your, on the front that your shaft goes down through. You just take that off, slap another one on, put the shaft back in. He was done.
Wow.
But it was crazy because we backed it in and like, I don't have anything to do, right? I'm just along for the ride. So like I call Frank just bullshitting with Frank, telling him what's going on. By the time I explained what happened with the trolling motor, this dude already had the shaft pulled out.
Wow. It's awesome.
Like,
I don't think they make their designs impossible to work on.
If you've ever tried to take one apart,
right,
you would understand how incredible it was for him to have the shaft out in like 10 minutes. Just doing like minor things to it. Like,
I'd rather run up and see Dave.
Yeah, exactly. They're not like, you can tell that like he literally does this all day, every day. Mm-hmm. He was just like, doop, 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 doop. He's just like, zip, zip, zip. Slides the shaft out, right? I'm like, what?
How much did it cost?
I think it was like $500 or $600.
Oh, it's not terrible. To get you back on the water, and you're only out a couple hours, it sounded like.
We hadn't even fished.
Yeah, but like you only lost a couple hours of fishing.
Hour and a half, 2 hours, yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah, we had it, and we hadn't even made a cast. I may have made like one cast, like from the back of the boat while he was, trying to figure out what was going on. But other than that,
Andre's comment said, Andre said back in the day, Minn Kota Maxim had a shaft that would kick back if you hit something. I thought that was the Fortrex that had the spring.
Fortrex and a Maxim.
Okay. Because I had a Maxim on the Ranger. I don't ever remember there being a spring, but I never took it apart because I didn't have to. Because
it was right at the mount, right where it mounted.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. So that trolling motor,
if you hit something too hard, it would kick the shaft out of the. So the spring like set in like a recessed hole, and it would kick the spring out of it, and you just had to bang the spring back into it.
Yeah, that thing. I hit so much crap with that, and I used it so much that there's a retaining pin that goes in there that holds that plastic piece so that it locks into place, and the retaining pin is very tight in the hole. And because I had used it so much and it had been, whatever, that hole actually, just from the wear, it got big,
ovaled out,
so that the spring, the pin would like back out. Yeah, and one day I was running and I heard this ting. I was like, what the fuck was that?
You know how you fix that?
Put a bigger spring in, or put a bigger pin in on there.
That pin that goes all the way through. Mm-hmm. Just you take a small. Not that you have a Maxim anymore. You have to fix it. But if anybody does have a Maxim, that pin that always comes out, drill a hole in each end of it and put cotter pins in it.
Yeah, I should have.
Because it does stick out. I mean, they stick out. They stick out like this far on one end. I think it's blocked on one end.
It wasn't. It could have went in either way.
Go either way. Yeah. I couldn't remember. I did it on mine, but I couldn't remember if I had to do it on both ends.
Well, and the thing about it that sucks is if it was backing out one way or another, the way that the housing of the trolling motor went when you put it down, the bracket came right over top of that hole. So if it was sticking out one way or another, it would not go down all the way. So you couldn't even put a threaded bolt in and just put a nut on it. It wouldn't work.
Yes, motor guide are a thing of the past. They do not exist anymore.
Yep. Which Jim, actually makes a lot of sense.
Jim, I had to. I replaced the foot control board on my Champion too. Yeah, it was. I did the same thing. I bought the part for $60. Watched YouTube, and replaced it in like 15-20 minutes.
Was that for your Ultrex?
Yeah.
You had a 36 volt on yours, right?
No, I had 24.
Okay.
I didn't have room for a third battery.
You probably could now with this 50 amp hour Ionics, if you really wanted to squeeze it in there. Probably could have.
It would be close. Because my batteries were actually in the back, like there were 2 storage compartments in the back, so they were like storage compartment size.
Okay.
And I could like just fit 2 27 series. So I mean, I had 100 amp. I mean, I put 100 amp hour. It would hold 200 amp hour.
I am literally thinking about going to all 31 series in the back of my Ranger just to see if it helps.
It will help
with my pickup.
It will help with both.
Just getting the
even if it doesn't, like
Still
why not?
better. Right.
If you can fit 31s, put 31s, because you never know when you might need it. You know, like heaven forbid, like you have a motor issue and you're out on the flats or something, and you have to fucking trolling motor in.
Yep.
You know, it's you know, even if you don't use it all the time, for those couple of times, you know, I'm scared my 24 volt won't get it done in the grass. How did it hold up? I never had an issue with my 24 volt, and I ran that champion all over the Potomac through that fucking hydrola.
I'm surprised that Jeff has. I'm surprised you have a 24 volt because you got a 20 foot, or is it 20 or 21? That seems like a little bit underpowered.
I am
Well, it's
definitely
older, so it was made
weird
for
about my
24
trolling motors. Like, I swear to God, like, always oversize your trolling motor. I don't care what Minn Kota says. Put the biggest thing on there.
Keep in mind that like Minn Kota's recommendations are like minimum recommendations.
Right.
Like if you have this size boat, you should run this size motor minimum.
Just I'm the type of person where, like, there is no boat out there that should run a 12 volt 55 pound thrust.
Sounds like
like, unless it's one of those freaking little douche canoes that people
Can you
buy.
get rid of that Windows message so I can actually see stuff?
I don't know how to do that, but it's right here.
Craig says, "What's up? Sounds like a trolling motor night." I guess we're starting off there. We are going to talk about the Solstice here. I'll put a plug in while we got some folks on. So if you're in the area and you're looking for something to do on Thursday, the 19th, and then every Thursday after that, Thursday nighters will start on the 19th out of Gunpowder, Mariner Point Park from 6 to 9 p.m. until a couple weeks later. Then they'll move it to 5:30 or whatever. Lots of fun, $50 a boat. Tons of fun. We have a good time. We're always there fishing them. It's a good group of guys. It's not
Never miss one.
It's not super serious either. I mean, you better catch them if you want to win, but it is a lot of fun. So if you're looking for something to do, definitely come and check it out because, like I said, it's a great tournament. We have a ton of fun with it. I think Chad's pulling up a flyer for it right now, so you guys can see the details. But
I think that's the fishing fleet market.
Yes.
yeah, there it is. But yeah, it's Mariner Point Park Thursday nighters. This is an older flyer.
That's definitely last year.
It is
2 years ago.
It is from last
2
year.
years. No, it's from 2023.
But so ignore the date. It starts on the 19th, so it's next Thursday, and then every Thursday
I'm gonna
afterwards.
just take that down.
Jeff says I had a 112 on the Ranger. This boat has 80-pound Ultrex, but there's not really any room for a fifth battery.
I mean, I ran an 80-pound Ultrex, and like I didn't have any issues with it in the grass, but I was also running it on a smaller boat too. You know, I was running on my 18.5-foot Champion, and I never had any issues in the grass. And I fished the Potomac a lot in that boat.
I had a 70 on the Ranger.
as
I
well
never
as
had
the
issues.
flats.
Yeah, I never had issues with the Maxim in the Ranger. Now, in like if you're like up on the river, I couldn't hold in current, so that kind of sucked.
Yeah. That-
But
You know.
but I mean,
That's
for
the type of stuff
fishing the
that makes
grass,
a
it was
big
fine.
difference when you're talking about oversizing your trolling motor. The wind, the current, all of those things becomes factors when you put something in there that's larger instead of something that is fighting for its life to maintain position.
Exactly. Scott says that they've got quite a few great door prizes to give away at the Solstice.
Ooh, anything from
Do you have any more? Do you have any more gift certificates from Mikey Duarte for power washing? Because my house needs power washed again.
Nice.
why am I brain farting on the clothing brand that they're always?
AFCO.
AFCO?
Yes, AFCO.
AFCO is
The
pretty awesome.
AFCO stuff is awesome.
All proceeds go to our bass stocking program.
Hey
Yep,
Scott,
appreciate
when's that starting up again?
What?
The bass stocking program.
Apparently with the Solstice, he says that everything goes to it, but they collect money all year
But when do they actually stock the fish?
in the fall.
Is it in the fall? Okay. I always want to make it, but I never can. I'm hoping to make it this year when you guys do the stocking.
I couldn't make it last year.
Yeah, it's tough for me to make those.
I'm putting the fish on my boat ramp at in Saltpeter.
I always enjoy it. I always think it's fun just to go out, stock some of the fish, and then just go fish for a couple hours. To me, it's a great
October,
excuse to
okay.
take off work.
I want to stock them and then see if I can catch them immediately.
Right.
See-
You might as well just put a jig in your live well. and see
We're
what happens.
gonna educate them quick.
Right. Hey Scott, so I got a
stock them and
question.
then catch them immediately.
So where do you actually get the bass from?
I can answer that.
Okay.
There are approved vendors, so approved stocking places that they can purchase them from that are approved by the Maryland Department of Natural Resources.
Okay.
So it has to come from one of the Maryland Department of Natural Resources approved stocking areas, or not stocking areas, but stocking
Vendors.
And then there's a couple of them, and I believe that Scott has used a couple of the different ones, depending on I'm assuming depending on pricing and the size of fish that they want.
So what do we have to do to sneak some F1s in there? I know they're going to say no, but like,
Yeah.
I mean, so
I still think somebody should do it.
I agree. What is there to lose? What is there to lose? That's my question.
It's my favorite river, Andre.
Yeah,
That's why I bought my house in Joppatown.
And
It's
here's the thing,
definitely
right?
our favorite river. It's not as good as it was when there was grass there, though.
So
it's also not as good as it was before the fish kill like 9 years ago.
yeah. So I remember
It did revive itself quite a lot, though, and then fell
did.
back off again with the grass.
Yeah, it did. It was starting to get there, but man, 9-10 years ago,
Oh, yeah.
which I think probably before
It was
before
insane.
you started fishing down there.
There was obviously a time before that, but I did fish it before the fish kill.
I was there
You could go
when
out-
it happened.
You could go out in you go out in the summertime, and you could just fish the flat going into the quarry canal from like where the grass started into the mouth of the quarry canal. Like you could just go down there in the evenings and just throw a frog, and you would catch 10 to 15, and they would be 2.5 to 4 pounds.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
It was really, really good.
But it was
and,
good
You know, it's
2
still,
years ago.
I still do not believe what they said was the fish kill. Oh, there was this algae bloom that killed them. I personally think that a lot of it has to do, or had to do, with the amount of salt and that brine they put on the roads in the wintertime, and then it washes into the freaking bay system, construction and whatnot going on, and freaking sewage dumping.
I think I believe them with the algae kill. Here, I don't believe their reasoning for the algae bloom.
Well, they said the algae bloom was because it got warm, right?
Like there was like a warm day and then it got cold. So essentially, it
happens every year.
Warm day,
Happens all the time.
Warm day, algae bloom, and then cold day kills all the algae, which sucks all the oxygen out of the water.
Right. Yeah, I don't know about that.
I believe that I do believe that that's what happened because like it was too widespread for it to be like a sewage spill,
Right.
or something like that.
But why
it was
did the
like
algae
literally
happen?
everywhere.
Did it happen in like Middle River and shit too?
So it happened in Middle River
before.
like the year before.
Yeah. Yep.
So I believe it. I believe the algae kill. But I want to know what caused the algae kill because I don't believe it was just a spike in temperature because that happens a lot.
Yeah.
We get that. I mean, we get that a lot in the wintertime here, and it's never happened before, other than the year before in Middle River.
I'll never forget going to the freaking ramp and just seeing a bunch of dead bass and catfish just laying on the boat.
I remember. I actually.
yeah.
It was
Dude, the
right around Christmas
stench-
time when it happened.
The stench was awful.
It was right around Christmas time when it happened because me and my uncle went out the day after Christmas. We went
Yes,
to
sir,
striper
it
fish
is.
and we launched at Mariner. And like you actually couldn't see the ramp. It was from when I was there. It was the carp mainly that were just dead. There were so many carp that when the tide got high, they were in the trees. Like they were literally dead in the trees. I've never seen anything like it. It was insane. But I agree, though. I think that there's definitely some weird reasons as to why. Yes, Andre, Mariner's the public ramp that doesn't charge. It's it's honestly
the nicest ramp around here.
yeah, it really is.
Crazy
now-
to say that too, because it's like,
I mean, Dundee's pretty good,
But they charge.
but they charge.
and they're assholes.
I don't know. I've never had an issue.
I've had issues there.
You have to be back at a certain time and before
they close the-
dark. And all
Well,
that
it's
crap.
not
Well,
even
that's not
that.
being an asshole. That's because the park closes.
Okay, well, to me, that's being an asshole.
I got yelled at one time.
Okay.
I got yelled.
They have a gate on Mariner Point too, and they never close it.
Well,
So-
right, but
yeah.
Mariner Point's not a state park either.
So that's what happened, right? I went there for a club tournament like 2 years ago. The one that I won a couple years ago, and we're sitting there and we're in the ramp at like 5 o'clock in the morning. It's like the whole club. We're all sitting there getting our boats ready, and some old guy comes up and he's like gets out of his car, kind of like Chris Farley from Living in the Van down by the river doing, and he walks up. How the hell did you guys get in here? I don't know. Gate was open. I drove through it. Like,
I know exactly. So I can, because we had a TBF tournament the same day. We were down there together.
yes. Yep.
So, funny story. They have a gate that's locked until 6 o'clock.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like they open at 6 o'clock. So somebody, and I'm not going to mention any names, but somebody that I may know, I said, well, the gate's locked. They don't open until 6 o'clock, and they were just like, and they walked up to the gate and they looked at it. And they kind of went like this, and then just went, oh, and just knocked the gate open. And I'm like, all right, we can go in now.
Yeah, that guy was so mad.
Oh, he was so mad.
It's like, you guys broke in. I'm like, dude, the gate was open. I drove through it. Like
Everybody in the parking lot said the same thing too. Oh, no, gate was open when we got here.
It's like, what does it even matter? We're sitting in the parking lot, just sitting here. What are we even doing
Here's the
that
thing.
is damaging anything?
Dundee should be happy that anybody launches there at all. Okay, so excuse me, I wouldn't be yelling at people for launching there at any point because you can go there on any given day and you might see 10 trailers. You might see, and that's on a Saturday.
Yeah, it does
not get a
lot of boat traffic.
Right. So like
No,
they should just
however,
be happy
it's
that
kinda
people
out
are
of
using it.
Andre's question, how is the parking? Does it get packed? Yes.
It does
It gets
there-
packed at Mariner Point.
during crabbing season and on the Thursdays, but especially during crabbing season.
Thursdays usually aren't too bad.
Dude, just about any Saturday, it'll fill up that whole front parking lot.
Yeah, Saturdays.
Especially when it's pleasure boat season. You got pleasure boaters going
If you get
out,
there early,
crabbers
you'll be
go-
fine though. If you get there like at 5, 6 in the morning, you'll be good.
The key
Oh,
to
yeah.
Mariner Point is to get there right before daybreak. You can park anywhere you want, and then just make sure you stay out until like 4 o'clock. Like if you stay out by 4 o'clock, 90% of the people will leave, and like you're good. When you come in, you don't have to worry about anything.
Do us a favor, everybody. We got a lot of people in here watching right now. If you haven't already, hit the like button for us and the share button. We really, really appreciate it. It helps us grow, helps us expand.
Yeah, that was pretty hilarious. He just walked up to the gate and just pushed it real hard, just opened it. Like, all right, guys, gate's open. Guess we can go in. And everybody in the parking lot. That guy came to
I guess we can go in.
the guy the guy that runs the park down there went to everybody how'd you get in here? Like, I don't know, gate was open.
Yeah. Oh.
I forgot about that. That was hilarious.
Oops, wrong button. But look, I blacked the screen on accident. Yeah, so other than breaking my trolling motor yesterday, it went
Pretty good. You
better than expected.
You guys had a pretty good day.
Because
Fishing was pretty good last night.
Yeah, it was pretty decent. I wanted to
Very good
go.
tide.
I wanted to go to a specific area, and I knew because of the tide, it was going to be really, really hard to get there. So I'm in the John boat, obviously, which has the jack plate on, and it's a tunnel haul. And I just stayed on it. I'm like, all right, I'll skip through the mud to try to get over to the deep points, and it didn't work. Motor lifted up out of the water, boat stopped on top of the mud, and I was like, well, this puts a complete giant hole in my plan. I don't want to fish where I even am.
Sorry.
You can't get rid of it. It has something to do with Windows not being activated.
What, do you have a bootleg copy of Windows?
It's not a bootleg. I have no idea. My sister's husband set it up for me.
Oh, it's bootlegged. 100%.
Definitely bootlegged.
It's not bootleg. How do you have bootleg Windows?
Yeah, it's not in Chinese. It's probably
happens.
not bootlegged. It'd
Go
probably
to
be,
settings. It says go to settings and activate Windows. I don't know.
or you would have like Indian porn advertisements or something if it was bootlegged.
How do you know I don't?
I don't know. Maybe Indian porn. Ew. You can smell it
No.
here. It's not even on the screen yet.
Jim, no, we don't have any protests in our area that I know of.
No pornography allowed.
I might see. I mean, if I'm in Bel Air this weekend, maybe I'll see something. But
So you guys dealing with any protests in your area? No protest here yet.
Well, there'll be one this weekend.
Why?
I'm sure.
It's the No Kings thing that's going on in DC. It's going to be a shit show.
I don't care
Is
about
it
DC.
George
I don't go
Floyd's
to
birthday?
No,
I
it's
don't go to DC.
there's this huge. It's this huge thing. We could talk about it offline because I've been in meetings about it for the last couple of days. It's going to be shitty.
Oh, for real? Yeah. Well, that's pretty serious then.
I mean, I'm not going. Like
I mean, not yet until they start lighting shit on fire. Then you might.
Well, yeah,
Maybe.
that would suck, but whatever. It happens.
Dude, you gotta admit it'd be pretty fun to shoot somebody with some rubber pellets.
But we won't even get that. That's all. They give all that to law enforcement. They don't give a shit.
Do you hear?
Why are they sending the National Guard? Not give you guys the.
Did you hear about the Marines in LA that like the cop was like cover me, and like a cop saying cover me means one thing, like get ready to protect me.
Yeah, but
and
that means that means something very different.
They started laying down suppressing fire.
I believe it. I totally believe it. You know why? Because that's what you're supposed to do. Like, okay, so like here's the deal. I'm not gonna get into this because it's like
it was just like a disconnect. You know, like a disconnect between like police and military terminology.
Well, it's
they
true,
just started
right?
blasting people.
It's overwhelming fire superiority is what is like our playbook, right? So it's like if there's one guy over in that area, I'm gonna have 10 guys shooting at him at any like continuous fire cyclic, while the other 5 or 6 do a dog leg and go and shoot him in the side of the face. Like that's just so. Yes.
Did you see the video of the guy that got nailed in the face by the tear gas can?
No,
that was amazing.
And if there's 100 guys over there, they're just getting bombed.
Oh yeah, So yeah, that's actually hilarious because it's true. Because if you give any like military personnel with any sort of infantry background, it's like, hey, I need cover. Oh, okay, let me melt my barrel real quick. Like that is exactly what that means. Like there is no ambiguity. What like covering fire? Point at that inanimate object and make that big rock a small rock
disappear.
Yeah,
cover me. It has 2 different meanings between the police force and military.
Yeah,
is what we're getting at here.
It's actually hilarious. I wish I could have seen that
which
video.
Is pretty funny.
That is really funny, actually.
It wasn't a video. It was like a news story that came
awesome.
Up.
That's so funny.
Anyway, enough about politics because we try not to talk about politics on here. I have something interesting to talk about that we don't really think of. And this is just something that like I've noticed over the last couple of months.
You like men?
Getting in shape.
Wow.
No, I love vagina. I want all of the vaginas on my face.
Okay. Here we go.
And canceled.
So, getting in shape for fishing
definitely makes a big difference.
Okay. All right. I see what you're doing.
I started running again and trying to get back into shape, and I run 3 or 4 miles a day.
I really wish I had a Forrest Gump meme right now.
I actually got to get up tomorrow morning and run 6 miles, but
have fun with that.
God.
I've noticed that, and I've lost a little bit of weight, and just with my legs getting stronger and stuff like that, like you'll be out there for like a long day and like you get that pain in like the center of your back and like
it sucks.
I fished 13 hours on Sunday. No issues. I'm like, wow, like just from losing a little weight and getting back into shape, like
it definitely
it makes a huge difference.
I feel like it's a lot of it's mental because you don't get tired. You stay in it mentally because you're prepared physically.
You can stay in it mentally, but that doesn't mean that your body's not going to physically decline.
Right, like
after being rocked by waves and casting all day.
Right,
long.
You're getting tired. Your back's your back going back and forth. Barely run let alone 4 miles.
I can barely run my trolling motor, let alone 4 miles.
4 miles isn't too bad. 6 tomorrow is going to suck. I haven't ran 6 miles in a really long time, so. The most I've ever ran at one time is 21.
21 miles?
Yeah, I was training for a marathon.
That's crazy.
That was one of my long runs.
That's a really long run.
It's an emotional event.
That makes me hurt just thinking about it.
It was like it was like a 2.5. It was like 2.5 hour run.
2.5 hours?
Yeah,
it's a long time. But
I'm not nearly as young as these guys, so keep that in mind. I'm starting to. I mean, I am starting to get a little older, so I'm in my 40s now, and I realized that like I needed to get back into shape because like everything hurts, and you throw your back out every couple of months, and And like it was, it affects fishing. And I've just noticed over the last couple of months that getting myself into a little bit better shape has tremendously made fishing more enjoyable. So,
I mean, yeah, I think
I'm
a
not
lot
saying
of
you got to
people,
go out there and run 4 miles a day.
there's a lot of people out there that just think
That's just what I do.
fishing is fishing. It's not physically demanding, and to a point, it's not physically demanding. It's not like exercising or running or something of that nature, but it's demanding on your body when you have to stand there, hold your balance, make your cast. The boats is rocking all over the place. It does become physically demanding on your body after a certain amount of time.
And a lot of times you're in weird positions, right?
Yes.
Like your foot's up, you have one foot a
And
little
I
bit
feel
higher.
like that
on the
has a
trolling
lot
motor.
to do with it, to be honest with you, is the fact that your one foot is always up here and your other foot is down here, and
most of your weight on that one foot.
Exactly.
Yep.
It starts to hurt your back. It starts to hurt your joints after so long.
Andre said it's easier for the guy in the back of the boat.
Right.
Just sit on your little chair or stool and have a time.
I don't know though. I mean, there's definitely parts of it that are like that definitely translate. I mean, like if you're in the fall, I mean, if you're throwing an A-rig all day, like you'll feel it. I mean,
Try throwing a freaking 6 ounce or an 8 ounce glide bait.
or punching. Punching is one of those
Same
other
thing.
ones that's like very.
I
sneaky.
actually think that throwing a big I've never thrown like a 6 or 8 ounce glide bait, but throwing like a 4 ounce glide bait, I have done.
Jeff is not wrong though. There is some big boys that'll just sit up there on the chair and wear them out in the grass.
Here's the like you already know like
there's some big dudes.
if you
do
pull
lot
up to a
of that.
tournament and there's some hillbilly with like a orange construction sweatshirt and a curved hat like that, yeah, he's already won.
So
He's gonna throw a black worm and kick your ass. Like it's just the way it is.
I totally lost my train of thought. What were you saying?
Fishing in shape.
Fishing being in shape. Jeff said that there's a lot
before the Jeff thing. We were talking about something.
It's easy for the guy in the back
offsetting
of the
your
boat.
weight while you're standing there. And it's
Throwing big baits.
Yeah. Throwing big
so
baits.
anyway, I've thrown a 4 ounce glide bait. That donk is like 4 ounces. That is easier to throw than an umbrella rig because the umbrella rig has so much more drag, wind resistance. So you have to throw it so much harder.
I feel like bringing
it
back is harder.
Oh, it's 1,000 times harder.
Yeah.
Bringing the umbrella rig back. But even casting it so if I wanted to cast that donk, say I want to cast it 100 feet, it's way less effort to cast that 100 feet than it is to cast an umbrella rig that only weighs 2 ounces total 100 feet. Because there's so much wind resistance.
Yeah,
when
it's
you're
like
casting.
drag. It's like trying to cast a mop.
So you don't have to, you can just lob a glide bait and it'll just shoot out there.
I've definitely
you gotta get back and like baseball swing that.
You're also
that
when you're
umbrella
using
rig.
these umbrella rigs and you're using these big glide baits. Your rods are also way heavier. You're throwing broomsticks at that.
That's the thing with punching, and like I mean, I remember when we were in Florida a couple years ago, I was punching with 1.5 ounces up to a 2 ounce weight, and like after doing it for like 3, 4, 5 hours, it's like, dude, I'm feeling like tired. Or you know what else?
All about the rod.
Yeah. Well, you know what else? It will actually make you
with punching anyway.
You know what else will make you really fucking tired is if you're throwing a chatterbait and you're like ripping it out of the grass like all day.
Oh yeah.
Like your forearm.
Dude, your forearms. I've done that before. Like just out fishing on the flats. Even back in the gunpowder, back in the day, we had a lot of freaking grass. Oh, that's nice.
Mr. Miyagi.
Dude, your arms just be burning after that. Burning.
So I actually.
What's up, Deborah?
I actually developed tennis elbow from fishing a chatterbait in the grass.
I believe it. Just doing this
You
all
gotta be doing
day.
a lot of fishing like that.
Well,
Jerk baits, dude. Jerk baits will wear you the fuck out throwing a jerk bait all day.
See,
long.
I think
maybe
that's
chatterbait's
rod.
way worse.
I never really get tired of throwing a jerk bait unless I'm throwing it for smallmouth. Because if I'm throwing it for smallmouth, it's crazy. Like
You just
especially on live
as hard
scope.
as you can.
Well, especially on live scope. Joe says Pornhub's enough training. Nice. Classic comment.
it only works in one arm.
I did it better. I did better when back in the day, a lot less options for baits, lines, etc. Overthinking now seems to caught more fish then too. I feel like fishing a chatterbait in the grass hurts my arm worse than punching 100%. Punching.
I would agree. I would agree with that.
Punching's all about having the right rod. If you have the right rod for it, it's not really that difficult. I mean, it's a 2-ounce weight. Like you just kind of like flick it out there and it goes in. Like you don't have to really cast it. It's not like you're casting it 50 yards.
My punching rod's a 7.9 extra heavy. It's a pool cue. It really is. I mean, that thing is.
I feel like Jim's the only one in here that really
7.
gets to do some real punching.
I mean, I use a 7-11 heavy. I mean, I use a big ass rod for punching, but agree with everything Paul said. Just being in shape, running, whatever, you'll obviously feel better. Not to mention just working out, doing just for. Preparing for a long run, it's mental toughness as well. Yeah. Like mentally in a tournament, they say it's not just a sprint. And that's what I'm running the Annapolis 10-miler in August.
You know, he makes another good point that wasn't stated though, was like, I think kind of like something you kind of said though. There's a mentality with being able to run that long. Also, is the same as like being able to stand up on a bass boat for that amount of time.
Yeah, be miserable for
like
when that bike's slow, be miserable for an hour at a time.
Exactly.
Yeah, you gotta get in the mindset. I mean, and the mental part of fishing is in my opinion just as big, if not bigger. And like the perfect example, and we haven't really talked about it a whole lot, but that tournament where Miles and I got, I think we got 4th or 5th. I don't remember. I think it was 5th in the Flats Trail. We were fishing areas where we knew we're going 2-3 hours without a bite, but the bite is going to be
so you gotta have that
4 or 5 pounds.
You got to have that mental toughness, and with running is a lot of mental toughness when it comes to the running. This morning, like I got up this morning and like, I started my run. I felt like absolute dog crap, and like I just didn't want to do the workout that I needed to do, but like I just had to like mentally push through it and break it down to like, okay, it was a 25-minute tempo run, but that's beside the point. But anyway, it was a 25-minute workout, right? And I'm like, okay, 5 minutes down, 10 minutes down. And like just had to keep working my mind to say like, look, we're almost
Lil Bradley, what's up, buddy?
It's this is gonna happen. The thrill of the hunt keeps you going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of guys that's in shape, you got Lil Bradley, big ice hockey player over there.
Sometimes the thrill of the hunt is not enough when they're not cooperating.
Brad, since you're just joining in, we're talking about being in good physical condition to go fishing, and how Paul's getting back into running, and he's doing good with that. And he was saying how running long distances and getting his body back in shape has made fishing more enjoyable, and how the mentality of being able to push through those times when you don't want to do something can help benefit you on a bass fishing boat.
Yes, Andre.
And how physical it can be at times.
Makes a huge difference as far as like fatigue. The recess pedal makes a world of difference.
Yeah, definitely. The only thing I don't like about the recess pedal is I can't get to the spot lock button super easily.
Take like a felt pad, or something about that thick, and put it right on top of it. So it just raises it up a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
Andre, I like that gambler you're selling. I really do. I thought about it. I was like, man, I could have that. But
Andre's got a gambler.
He's helping a friend of his sell it. It looks like it's a pretty. Ooh. I think it's a dude. I thought I tagged you in it.
Possibly.
You should buy it. You should definitely.
I can't buy that right now.
Why not?
Because he has a Ranger sitting in the garage that has to go before he can buy a new boat.
Just take the power poles off the Ranger and then sell it, and then buy the gambler. Look, I'm creating solutions.
You're not wrong.
And it's got an XR6 150 EFI Mercury on it. It'll probably run until we're all dead.
I also have a girlfriend that wants to update my entire house right now, and I'm getting ready to do that. So
that's awesome. Good for her.
You should get the boat first.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
You talk to her about that and see how that goes.
I'm just telling you should get the boat first.
Greg said the mental toughness of the one full marathon that he's ran. I've never.
That's not bad.
That's a great.
What are you doing?
Do it.
I've never ran a full marathon. I've trained for 2 and got hurt before both of them. I have ran a half. I ran the Baltimore half a few years ago.
A 19-foot Intimidator. I bet you that boat would roll. Is it now even the 19-foot Gambler? Can you still put a 250 on that?
225.
225.
So it's
Might
actually
be a
it's
200.
underpowered. I think in the ad it's at a 150, which is fine. I mean, it'll still run, but
I think they're 200.
they're rated for a 2. I
think they're rated for a 200.
Actually, you might be right because I think the Intimidator came in a 19 and a 20
So I know
back
Chad,
in the day.
Chad,
I don't know.
I
They're
think
nice
Chad,
Insure your Ranger, light it on fire, then buy a new boat.
I think Chad Wells is. I'm pretty sure it had a 200 on it.
I have seen both. I have seen I have
Obviously,
seen
now I would have to
Intimidators
buy
with
that
both.
Gambler and then immediately take it up to JCS Marine.
It looks pretty good. I think you could fish out of it for a year or like to finish the year, and then you could take it up there.
You know me. I would have to take it to JCS Marine.
I mean, yeah.
I just like nice things.
Actually, you know what? It's interesting you say that because the Gambler that they just did for Beast Coast Fishing was an Intimidator, and it had a 150 on it, and they put a 200. So I know that I'm pretty sure the Intimidator had a 19-foot haul and also a 20-foot haul.
I think the
that
20
had a
was
225.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what Troy Duff.
No.
You don't know Troy and John?
Where
from
is
the guys
John
from
at right now?
the guys from Hazard County.
I've heard of them, I think, but
You should join that club.
Hazard County?
Hazard County.
Why?
Because they're not serious. They're not like super serious about like tournament fishing, but they all have like gamblers.
Oh, that's cool as shit.
They all have so that's kind of how it started out. So Tyler
Chad.
with Tyler Crawford.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Like so you have like he's in there. He was in.
Oh, so it's
he's in
a
club.
fast boat club.
John and Troy both have gamblers.
That's cool as shit.
Joe Montoya's got an Allison, like an older 19 like
A fast one.
it's fast as balls for what it is
Balls fast.
for an 18-foot boat with a 150 on it.
Oh yeah, they'll roll.
150.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's like that Hydro Sport that Kevin owns that
150.
he's afraid to run. I'll run it. I don't care.
I think it may have the same motor as that Hydro Sport.
That thing is fucking insane.
It'll never float, Jim. It'll never float.
I'm just saying, like,
Happy wife, happy life.
I would love. I mean, I'm excited. I mean, we're talking about Gambler a little bit. I'm excited to see what's in the future for Gambler. I hope that whoever bought it, honestly, and I don't mean disrespect to anybody, I think the only person that should be involved with the revival of the third revival of Gambler is Heath Murphy. Heath Murphy. He's the only person that should be involved.
You know, I hope this
I have
time
no
it
idea who that
actually
is,
works out
and
for Gambler.
I'm sure nobody else does either,
All right. So
except for John and Andy.
So no. So when things started to go south at Gambler, Heath so put it this way: when Heath walked out of the company,
I love you
everybody
for that,
else
Jim.
walked with
I
him.
love you, buddy.
Heath Murphy
Like this
did
last
not.
time.
Yes,
Okay.
Heath Murphy did not own everything. He was like their number 2 or number 3 guy because it was Scotty G owned it.
So he was just like their manager person.
Essentially, but he was like kind of the face of the company. Scotty G was too, but Heath was like that, the realist who was basically, from what I understand, was telling Scotty G like, "Hey man, this is working, this isn't." Blah
What's
blah
up,
blah.
Lil John? What's
And
up, buddy?
basically, the situation became impossible. Heath walked away, and when Heath walked, everybody else that worked for Gambler walked. So it was Scotty G and his wife were the only ones left at Hat Creek Marine, and then everything fell apart. So. So if you go and watch the Gambler video that Team Marine did, Heath is in that video walking him through the shop and walking him through the factory. I know a couple people that know Heath personally, and I've never heard a bad thing said about Heath. Heath also had every reason to badmouth Gambler when everything fell apart, and he never said a word. So that's just the kind of guy that he is. Again, this is second and third rate information that I'm getting from a couple people that I know in that fast boat community. But I think it says a lot about the guy if he put his entire career on hold to go be with Gambler. Gambler folds because of mismanagement at the top. It's only 2 people. And then walks away, no strings attached, doesn't drag them, doesn't put any bad information out there that was true about the company, and just splits and goes back to his life without any animosity towards the company. In my opinion, I think that's commendable. He had every right to do it. Just my opinion. And again, I get this information from somebody who grew up with Heath Murphy. So I can tell you that for sure. I won't say who. I won't say specific details about it because I'm not supposed to, because things were told to me in confidence. But again, I think if there's one person that should be involved with Gambler in 26, 27, and beyond, it should be Heath Murphy. I think Scotty G's got to go. He's the 90% of the reason why there were issues. And the funny thing of it is,
so who just bought Gambler back? Is Scotty
we still
G
don't know.
Is Scotty G even involved in it anymore?
Well, he's sold. So if he is involved, he is the seller. Now,
no, never ever burn bridges, and we have not learned that the hard way with Bass and Beer Radio, but we've definitely learned that some of the information we get, we keep to ourselves.
One of the most, I think, actually one of the most like significant points that Paul's ever made on this show is that the bass fishing community is full of bitches, and I would agree with that. I would absolutely agree with that. Is that whenever there's drama, everybody in this community wants to cry and wants to bitch and blah 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 blah, and this, that, and the other. And I think that with that being said, when you have a shit show that Gambler was,
it's not bad. It's not too bad, Brian. It's typical. It's like typical Joppatown water, about like it was last year.
I feel like the clear side hasn't actually been clear.
You're not going to find if you're looking for if you put it this way, if you're looking for topped out grass, Brian, you're going to have to go outside the bridge.
Way outside the bridge.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. You're gonna have to run
about 27 miles outside the bridge.
Yeah,
to be exact.
So yeah. Good luck with that. Me and Chad looked a little bit last night. We didn't really find it. Hey, and I'm glad that whole lunker thing worked out for you. That was actually pretty cool. And a huge commend and kudos to Middle River Bass for fixing that and being open about it and doing the right thing.
We are definitely fishing. We're all fishing the Solstice, Bradley. If you're up here, let us know.
Bradley texted me 2 weeks ago. He's like, how long does it take to get to the Solstice? I'm like, on your boat, on the one clear day we have a week, that's probably not going to be a Thursday, an hour.
To what? To get to the flats, you mean?
In his boat. An hour.
Depending on the wind. I don't know how fast. I don't know how fast his boat runs.
Probably like 35, 40.
So
it's about an hour.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
And that's if it's calm.
I mean, I can make it calm, like in the Champion, running like 55. Like I can make it there in like 35.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was running 55.
How much fuel did that OX66 burn?
It was not an OX66, and it burned all the fuel.
I thought it was an OX66.
No, it was a carb VMAX.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the XB is like ridiculous. The XB has an alcohol problem.
We'll see what the grass is doing in another month, Bryant. But hopefully it kind of clears things. Hopefully we'll have some more that's topped out and it'll clear some things up a little bit. But as of right now, it's pretty scarce. And personally, I mean,
there's like zero grass outside.
Yeah, I haven't seen. Joppa's been, in my opinion, compared to years, obviously when we had grass, Joppa has been very dirty the past couple years.
Yeah.
Especially with all the construction and everything going around. There's just so much silt washing down, and it's been nasty.
Yeah. I think a lot of those fish actually just relocated, honestly.
I think they did too.
Because realistically, when you think about it, is like if they didn't relocate, the spots where they would go would be fucking
no
loaded.
Grass, basically anywhere.
How's the grass on the Potomac, Jeff? I haven't been down there since the spring.
I didn't fish Potomac this year. It sucks. I love fishing the Potomac in spring.
I fished it in March, the end of March. Was it the end of March? Did we have our first tournament? Yeah,
that should have been. That should have been hammer time.
It would have been hammer time if we had ever got to fish we never got to fish like our 3 best spots because that's when I broke my trolling motor.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And we had 15 and a half.
Jeff says no grass.
No grass really.
Interesting. I didn't realize.
Other than like Belmont, I knew there was a ton of grass in Belmont. That's the one place I did find grass when I was down there practicing.
The problem I have, I don't have a problem with Belmont, but like places like Belmont and places like the mouth of Aquia and Potomac Creek, like I feel like if you go there and find grass, you didn't find anything. You found the community hole.
It's just their community holes.
Right. So it's like, it's cool to go there and catch them, but it's like a place like the Potomac that's
There's
so
good grass.
big.
I mean, there's still good grass in Aquia.
Every time I go to the
There's
Potomac,
grass in Aquia in March.
every time I go to the Potomac, I want to find shit that's like out of the ordinary, and you just end up going back to Belmont, mouth of Aquia, Smallwood. You end up back in these community holes where there's fish. It's hard to not do that. I get it, but it's like it's hard. I mean, that's tidal fishing. It's hard a lot of times to not fish community holes, and
Well, right, and then
that's why I like fishing up top.
You're fishing for the most. You're fishing for the most pressured fish in the in the area.
Yep.
So
Greenway Flats. That's actually the first spot I ever fished on the Potomac was Greenway Flats. I pulled up on Greenway Flats the first time I ever fished the Potomac and had a limit in an hour. And I was like, this place is amazing. And then I went back the next week and the carp had uprooted all the grass. And I had like one fish. That sucked. But
lost a giant up on the dock in Potomac. I was pissed. Yeah, that'll happen down there.
That's interesting about the Potomac, right? Like
I don't have any more tournaments down there this year, so
Yeah.
I really have. I love fishing the Potomac, but it's the traffic. Traffic's the reason that I don't fish the Potomac more.
I heard that it gets really bad in the summer.
Dude, it doesn't matter what day of the week you go down there. You can go on a Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, Wednesday. When you're coming home, traffic sucks.
Oh, it's awful.
Oh,
you meant that kind of traffic. I thought you meant boat traffic.
No, I don't care about the boat traffic. It's like actual traffic, like getting there. I would fish.
Oh, it's miserable.
I would
it's
fish it
absolutely
a
miserable.
ton more if the traffic wasn't so bad. Like it takes me an hour and a half to get there in the morning, and it takes me 2.5 hours to get home.
Me and Murphy actually timed it. Me and Murphy last year we had our first club tournament of the year on the Potomac, or 2 years ago. We went and fished that Tidal Patterns tournament on the Nanticoke. It took us less time to get home from the Nanticoke than it did from Smallwood.
Yeah, it's about the same, give or take.
Right, and like when you driving home from the Nanticoke, you were just rolling. The only time you stopped was the red lights on.
Did you go?
Whatever.
Did you go through Delaware?
No, we launched at Phillips Landing.
But
No, you're right. We
driving.
did. Yeah, we did. We
You
did
went
go
through
that way.
Delaware?
Yep.
Yeah. Usually like that's not bad. Like you never really hit traffic going down through there.
But yeah, I mean, it's
Phillips
like.
Landing.
But yeah, I agree with you because
I have a tournament down there in July.
club tournament.
TBF.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I heard there was a tournament this year. Somebody solo had 17 pounds on the Nanticoke. I think it was Tidal Patterns too. So that's cool to see. Because when we were there, when Murphy and I went
Especially
down
in a
there,
team tournament. I mean, we had there are big bags down there. It's just you don't. Everybody goes down there during the like dead of summer,
right?
and like you go down there in the fall. So we actually have our TBF semifinal down there this fall. A few years ago in the fall, like there were some big bags that were brought in. I mean, Frank, and these were solo weights, right? They're not team weights. Frank had over 15 on the second day, and another Rodney Oberdick from Delaware I think he had 16 on the second day, like solo weights.
Right.
So like you can catch 15 to 18 pounds down there. It's just that we never.
We always seem to go when it sucks.
We always see the weights from the summertime.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the other thing too, is like, because I have this discussion with my club every year. It's like, they're all like, we should go somewhere other than the flats. But it's like, but you guys only want to fish the flats in mid-April to mid-May because that's when you can go catch, giant bags. And I get that. But it's like, if you want to have a good day on the bush, on the Nanticoke, on the chop tank, on the sassafras, that's when you need to go there. Go when it's good. Don't go when it sucks. Because if you go when it sucks, it's like when I was in Team Outcast, we used to fish Conowingo in August. Why?
Biggest bag that I've seen come from the flats in the last 4 or 5 years was in August.
Right. But that's when we should be fishing the
Isn't
flats.
that crazy?
Are you serious right now?
Hold on. You guys still see us?
It just shut us down.
Did it shut us down though?
Yeah, it did. Unless it started a new.
It still says. It's still saying we got 16 viewers. If you guys can still see us, let us know.
No, see, because you can. The video is not showing live anymore.
Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
What the just happened?
I don't know. That was weird, dude. I don't understand.
Stream has disconnected. Attempted.
Hold on. I'll make a post.
God, that shit pisses me off. Apparently, we're probably still live on YouTube, though.
We are still live on YouTube. Yeah, so we're still live on YouTube. Sorry about that, folks. We had some weird technical issues going on. Just we'll keep an eye on it. Let me. Okay, so Trick 10 says YouTube is live. Dude, I almost. Oh shit.
Facebook is going.
I don't have Wi-Fi. Can you post to the? Can you post to the page and just like we're having technical issues?
I'm gonna end. I'm gonna end.